Good evening, Steve Marston from Northeast Real Estate. We're here just to give the selectmen an update on the commercial proposal as we're moving forward on the Taft Orchard parcel piece. Went through it with Town Council today. It's been reviewed by Town Council and his amendments have been put into it. He did make one request. There have been a couple of recent cases in the Mass Supreme Judicial Courts on disposition of town property. So he wanted me to run it by the IG's office just to make sure that everything was that we weren't going to get into any kind of a sticky wicket on anything, because there had just been a couple of court cases that had just come down recently. So I'm going to send that to the IG's office tomorrow or the next day. We should be able to get that back fairly quickly from them, because it's just a check on one legal precedent to make sure that we qualify in that way. He said that'll keep you in the town in the clear that if there is a challenge, it will have already been reviewed by the IG's office. So it's all set and ready to go. You've been emailed that an electronic copy. So if you have any comments, feel free to let me know. But other than that, we're charging ahead, and just want to let you know that is we're making good progress on that.
One question, proposed future use, that section, you have the town will designate some amount of the 31 acres to be dedicated to park recreational uses by town meeting vote. So that statement sounds like we will do that. I know we've talked about the possibilities, but having it worded that way, it sounds
I can change the will to may.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
That's very easy.
Easy's good.
Yep.
All right, perfect.
Great, so that's the commercial update. On the solar update, I think everybody is aware that the governor announced about 4 weeks ago, that the program is going to be quadrupled and expanded to 1,600 megawatts for solar in the state. The original program was 400 megawatts to be achieved by 2020. The Department of Energy Resources in April, May, looked at how many applications they had, and they were already at 400. So June 7th, this past June 7th, they closed the 400 program, and they have 536 megawatts applied for the first 400 program. They announced that the new program will be rolled out, and the Mendon project will be now in the new program. The guidelines will come out by the end of July. Interested parties will have an opportunity to comment by the end of September, middle of October, and the new rules will go into effect by the end of the year, if not sooner. So what does that mean for the solar RFP? Number one, we have to amend that. We've talked to about 5 of the potential groups that were interested. They said there's no way they could put in a proposal by the end of June, which is our current date, because they don't know the new rules with the expanded program. So we're recommending to the Board of Selectmen tonight that we extend the RFP till the end of August, to August 30th, to give people a chance to at least see what the proposed rules are. They won't be finalized, but we're anticipating it'll be enough information for them to put in proposals by the end of August. The other one recommendation that we would make is that the town consider putting the interconnection application in themselves. That is currently $7,500 fee, and then we would ask for reimbursement from the selected company. 3 companies thought that was a very good idea, because that holds our place in the program and assures them of the opportunity when they put in a proposal that we would be in the program. So we don't have to decide on that tonight. I think we'll discuss it tonight, but we just wanted to make you aware of that, and for your consideration going forward.
So a question though, so the governor, the program changed, right?
Right, the first 400 megawatt program is closed.
Right. So has anybody responded with because we extended it to what, June 20 something?
June 25th, right.
Right. That was, of 19, we had a few drop out, like 9 or 10.
Right.
So we revised it. Of the remaining applicants, did anybody submit anything?
We have not received anything yet. They would be waiting, and they knew that the announcement on June 7th was coming.
Right.
Nobody knew that the program was going to be closed,
Right.
and that, how the new program would be rolled out.
Okay.
So they were certainly waiting, and a lot of times on these RFP proposals, people will wait right up until the last week, if not the day of, to submit. So,
You have favorable responses from the people that are remaining.
How many are remaining?
I'd say we have 7 or 8
Yep.
So
interested.
did the extension and the change in terms bring anybody back in that had dropped
Yes.
out?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, August to me gives us more overlap with the commercial, which is kind of one thing we wanted to make sure we had, right?
That's right.
I'm okay with extending it to August 30th.
Okay, excellent.
Do we need a formal vote or anything?
Feel free to make one. As far as the 7,500, I just want to go back to that a little bit. Rich, so what they're asking here, I don't know, did you hear what he just mentioned about that 7,500? There's a fee that is paid to opt into the program, and because we're going to extend it, we're better off to pay for it as the town pay for it now, and then get reimbursed from, whoever bids on it, at that time.
It would be with the application, I would say within, up to you, the sooner the better, but, if you submitted it within the next 30 days, I would be fine.
Yeah, so I mean, that's like a reserve fund transfer, payment or something like that, right?
Yeah, we can do it after July 31st. I mean, sorry, after July 1st, that'd be good.
Yeah, I think we can definitely hold off till
Yeah,
after July 1st,
absolutely.
but just keep in mind, we don't have any special town meetings or anything, so we're gonna have to pay for it.
What's the time frame of getting the reimbursements? No talent?
Well, once we get the bids,
Right, so.
once we award the bid, I guess.
Right.
August, September?
Well, October.
Within this fiscal year?
Within this fiscal year.
No, this
This calendar year.
Within this calendar year.
perfect.
So do we need to take a motion on approving the commercial, have them go ahead pending the edits that we just talked about?
We might as well, I mean, I don't want to delay this any longer, so if we want to go ahead and do that.
So I move to
Hold on one
approve.
second.
On page 2, it says, copies of this RFP may be obtained by contacting the town administrator at the Mendon municipal offices. Do you want that reworded?
Administrative.
How about just the Board of Selectmen's office? Does that work?
Yes.
Because we don't have a town administrator.
Town council, I had Board of Selectmen's office, and I guess he feels highly of you because he changed it to administrator, so.
Well, that was probably prior to the vote. So items to change would be shall to may in the open space area, town administrator's office to Board of Selectmen's office.
Page 2. So I move to approve the commercial RFP for the Taft Orchard property at 36 Milford Street, pending the changes discussed on page 2 and in the proposed land use sections.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. And, the other thing we don't need, what was the other thing you asked?
No,
Let's make a motion to
I'll make
extend.
a motion.
commercial, right.
That's commercial. I'll make a motion to extend the duration of the solar RFP until August 30th.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Go Bruins.
Right? Discuss, next item on the agenda is to discuss funding options for the town coordinator administrator. Do we have anything new on that for today?
Yes. So since our last meeting, Rich and I caught up to talk a little bit about process approach to understand how we go about pursuing town administrator. We talked about several options last meeting. This is just some more, clarity around our thoughts and ideas on how to move forward. I'm going to ask Rich to take us through this.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. Actually, I mean, if you like, I can.
No, it's okay. You want me to just run through the options we come up with?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so if you remember last time, Mr. Chairman, that we had kind of brainstormed out loud, a few things, and so obviously that's what Mike and I did, and we came up with the following four, and the documentation you have in front of you gives you a little bit more detail about some of them. I'll just walk you through it quickly. So option A, obviously the least impactful on existing services and the existing situation, is the operational override. So there, if we just look at the main bits there, it's gonna include needing to really kind of come clean and inform the voters that we did not get the information out we needed and wanted to get out, explain, communicate that information, and do it in a structured way with presentations, information nights, get it out in the public, whatever we got to do, really, get that information out there. And you can see I've got some examples there that I've got: direct mailer, the education nights, the newspapers, the radio interviews, etc. And I think we got to quantify the return on investment, which probably is going to be more, at least in the beginning, a soft ROI than a hard ROI of hard return dollars. But there certainly will be some soft ROI available to. Well, obviously we have to do that with any of the options, right? So you can see the next page just gives the tax impact if that occurs. It's pretty much in line with what we gave out towards the end of just before the special town meeting. And then there's a timeline, and you'll see that timeline is specifically built for if we went this override route, and if it were to be successful after having, again, taken the time to inform the voters properly. And you can see that the time frame is rather tight, right? We don't have a lot of time to diddle around if we're going to, use this as one of our options. And I think what we came up with, Mike, is we kind of want to pursue a couple of these in parallel so that we have backup options available to us.
I mean, there's a sequence here, right? So option A is the one that really guarantees funding and focus on getting that position filled. Probably has the most lengthy timeline, but when you go through all these options, you're going to find that they all lead to, at a minimum, in FY15, we think we're going to have the position filled, and we have some ideas on how we're going to fill it. So, to Rich's point, if we even think about pursuing option A, that's about getting it going right now.
Yeah.
And this is being in our mind, the only option that's surefire in terms of funding. It needs to start sooner than later, so there's some level of sequencing here when you go across these options, but it's not necessarily one versus the other. In my mind, and I think we talked about this, we're going to be pursuing all three, because there's legitimacy to all of these options in terms of how we might get around doing it. And they all overlap from a sequence standpoint.
Well, there's a total of four options outlined there, but I think we can all agree that we would never want to pursue option D all by itself, and you'll understand why when we get there. Option D is one to be paired up with B and C, but you'll see that as we go through.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so option B, reduce dispatch costs. So I think, like we mentioned last week, like you mentioned last week, Lonnie, the chief's quite a bit of the way done with what is rebuilding there, and we should be probably, with a 3-town agreement, we should be more in the range of spending 80,000-ish than the 160,000 that we'll spend this year, FY14, without the additional towns on. So that 80,000 will defray a majority of the administrative cost. So it would likely require a small amount of current service reductions, maybe, and that is their option D. So we'll get back to that in a minute. So option C would be just to completely delay till FY15. That'd be a painful option, I think, but certainly another option. Limp through FY14 without administrator, then target FY15 new growth to fund the position. Now, I'll tell you that since I talked to you, Mike, on Thursday, I'm even more concerned about taking that approach because because I think, we still have to concern ourselves with things such as BVT looking for that new debt that they're looking to incur. They're certainly going to come back at that again, I believe. And I think there is a longer-term benefit to doing that. It just won't be immediate, and it'll cost some money in the first instance. But we'll have at least should have $80,000 worth of new growth available. So if we did, then again, we'd still need a small amount of service reductions to round out the difference. And again, the difference is basically going to be maybe $5,000 in salary, maybe, and then the rest healthcare.
So at the end of the day, even if we looked at option C and we take, $80,000 in new growth, I mean, that takes us off of a target of in the rebuild stage that we're in of, that's gonna cut into or totally put off salary increases again, things along those lines, not to mention we haven't gotten to D yet, but D is possibly, represents trying to cut some more money out of
Yeah,
a
it's-
budget that we're in the process of trying to rebuild, so,
Yeah, you're right, we'd have to, yep,
I
exactly.
mean, sorry, go right ahead.
Yeah, no, I think the other key here is, I just want to be clear, is I don't think we can do we can't sequence these things. So for instance, if we're looking at option C, that work actually starts with the beginning of the budget process, which is going to be, September, October. So so they're going to overlap. We won't know, we may not know, I don't know when we're due an override vote, but that may be in progress while we need to start this. So this is really about laying out what are the multiple tracks we're going to pursue if we want to go ahead with it, and when you get down to it, we'll find a way to get it filled. But I think there's definitely what I will say is a more appropriate approach, which is override. And I think, as Rich and I talked, it said, okay, we didn't necessarily handle that communication well, in a nutshell, right?
Yep, I think it's fair to say, yeah.
I think I want to take another run at that and make sure, there's more of an understanding of why it's important, things of that nature.
I would say that, if the budget season is gonna start as early as September, October, this year, that,
We've been starting on October 1st, right, so.
yep. But again, if we're going to go the override path again, that we're still at the beginning stages of the override, I'm sorry, of the budget, that we probably wanna front-load it with this position in there, and then, either fund it via override or find a way to fund it through the budget reductions, but,
Yeah, I think all four options would have us beginning the FY15 budgeting process with the position in the budget. I know you'll be happy about that, Will, right?
Yeah, I'm sitting here and then I'm absorbing it.
yeah. So, I mean, again, it's just so we're ready for it. I mean, even at the end of the day, if, it comes down to we're halfway through the budget season and the override doesn't pass and we say, okay, we're not gonna fill this position because it's going to have too much of it. I mean, again, I don't think that that's even a possibility, but, it's easier to take it out than try to shove it in halfway through the budget season when everybody's already prepared for it.
Well, I think, well, not only that, but at that point, if we've done our job far better than we did at this time and informed the public, and they still say no, then we respect that and say, okay, they don't want one.
Yeah,
They don't want one what?
Town coordinator.
I would agree. I think that then we try to stay on this timeline, or we stay on this timeline that you produced here, and we need to hit those dates and those marks. And, let's keep it going. I mean, because we do have some tight stuff here over, we got an item in July, couple items, voter override, STM. Okay.
You know what I just realized, Mr. Chairman, is that probably, see, I gave you two timelines, right? I gave you one that what things would look like if we don't, if on the non-override options, right, and one that includes the override options. Obviously, the one with the override options, there's a lot more work that has to be done. So it seems like we probably ought to find a way to dovetail those two things into one timeline, because we can't be executing against two different timelines.
Okay. Then, oh, sorry.
No, I'd say that to your point last meeting, Lonnie, when you said, well, this is going to be a standing agenda item, I think this consolidated timeline becomes that checkpoint. Are we on track? What do we need to do to make sure we stay on track? And that can be really the basis of our updates in these meetings.
And, I mean, Mark, what is your opinion? I mean, do you feel that we should take the approach of looking at bringing the override question back?
Yeah, I think that's going to be part of it, definitely.
Okay. I just don't, so if we're all in agreement on that, let's make sure that that's, well, with that, that having the earliest start point, let's focus on that, and we'll circle back around again at our next meeting to, maybe should we have a flyer ready? Some sort of a flyer. I see the first item is a town crier flyer. Sorry.
Well, when's the next Board of Selectmen meeting?
Within the next couple of weeks.
Do we have 1 week or 2 weeks is what I'm asking.
Oh, sorry.
July 1st?
The only reason I'm thinking that, I'm just thinking that, Mike, you and I could get together again now and actually put dates and assign people to
Well, I mean,
the milestones.
There's another meeting on the 27th, because that's the special, correct?
We've got a hearing, a fuel storage hearing for that.
Understood. Just that we're posted, so if there had to be anything that, if you needed a date within, we have another meeting in 10 days, and then...
I was just trying to make sure we didn't have to have it ready by next Monday. I don't know if we can
No,
squeeze
it would
in.
be, the 27th would be the earliest, and then July
Got it.
1st is
Yep.
our next Board of Selectmen meeting?
Yep.
I don't have it in my calendar. Oh.
Okay.
Well,
Okay, Wednesday evening, there's a finance committee meeting, plus the board of selectmen.
what is that?
It'll be a good chance to talk to this finance committee and the board of selectmen about this issue.
When is this?
Wednesday,
The 19th?
yes.
Well, I think we got posted in the event that we were going to go. I'm not aware what the agenda is for the FinCom meeting.
Please.
Yeah, but we're not posted to discuss this issue, though.
It doesn't matter, it can be your business.
I'm not ready.
Look,
I'm not ready.
if, yeah, so 27th is, I'm not gonna be at that meeting, but, I'll be at the first. Probably should put it in here. Oh, wait a minute, I got the wrong calendar, that's what.
We'll plan on keeping this as a standing agenda item.
Yeah.
And we'll just bring the timeline and/or flyer, and I would even say some of the communication efforts, that's probably someplace, we talked about getting some volunteers together. I think we can get volunteers for specific actions that come out of this timeline, and we can have those discussions in the subsequent meetings.
Yeah, that's what I'd actually like to brainstorm with you, a mini project plan, what it
Yep.
would look like. Yeah.
Perfect. Anything further?
No.
Thank you so much. Any questions? Next item is to discuss the town's website.
We were hoping Bill Ambrosino was going to be here.
He did, he just sent me an email.
Good.
He's at a wake
Oh,
for a family member, so, I won't read the email, but it sums up that virtual town hall is probably the best solution for us at this point.
We made a copy of the proposal. I know you received it by email, but here's a hard copy for you.
Great. Save me from looking it up.
so Lonnie, you were at most of that presentation that we had a few weeks ago, and, we've done some of the numbers, and we talked to Virtual Town Hall about financing it over the 3 fiscal years. And what they said would be that the $2,000 initial would be due when we sign the contract, and then figure if we go live in October, then the $1,496 would be due at that time, which is part of the 1995 yearly.
14 what?
1496.
14,000?
1,400.
So
this year-
$196.
Yeah, no, that would be for the remainder of the fiscal year, if we go live October 1st.
Okay, then what would the remaining payments be?
That is the only payment.
That is the payment for the year. It would be $34.96 for this fiscal year, for this coming fiscal year. And then the following fiscal year would be $39.95. If we're including that two, if we finance over the 3 years.
What would the number be again?
$39.95. That would include our maintenance, support, hosting, maintenance, and support.
And then the third
which
year would
then
be
the-
$39.95 again?
Yes,
Yes,
And then what would it be in the fourth year?
$19.95.
$19.95.
So it's $6,000 initially, and they're willing to spread that out over 3 fiscal years.
Excuse me. All right, sorry.
Apologies. They're willing to spread it out over 3 fiscal years, so that's where we come up with the additional $2,000 each fiscal year.
What are we currently paying this year, annually right now?
Currently, we're understanding it's $350 a month, and so it's $4,200 a year.
If you haven't signed a new contract or anything, or if they do not go up.
We're just sending, right. But we're only gonna, and we'll have a few months of overlap.
Right, well, we won't most likely go live until October, if we sign with
Well, there
them
wouldn't be
for
really an
July.
overlap. Well, we'd have to come up with 2K.
No, because we'll have the remainder of what's already been allocated for this, next fiscal year
From sales.
from sales renewal. We're actually, I think we're looking at an additional a couple $100 more that we'll need
At the end of
to
the
get
year.
us, to get us through.
Because we would make the initial, they'd send us a bill for the initial, because they'll fiscal it out for us, so the initial $2,000 would begin July 1st. And then we wouldn't pay the maintenance fee until October 1st, which is where you come up with the $14.96 for the rest of the fiscal year, rather than the $19.95. So we would still need to continue to pay sales renewal, the $350 for July, August, and September.
And assume,
Follow this, Rich? All right. So in order to change website vendors and get a new website, again, I did go to the presentation that Virtual Town Hall gave us, and Virtual Town Hall in the past few years, because we originally had looked at them, I think 5 years ago when we made the initial site, and they've come a long way in that time frame, and they're much better solution. And I think that from a technical side of this, that they're definitely the better way to go. But financially, we're looking at a few hundred, let's just call it $500 extra that we'll need at the end of the year to make the transition, because there'll be a slight amount of overlap
Next year, this year.
in this new fiscal
next
year
fiscal
coming
year, starting
up. 14.
14, all we're gonna need is an extra $500 for this, that's what you're saying?
Yep. And they're gonna finance it out, and then the price, and then actually, our cost will go down in years 2 and 3 compared to what we're paying now, of about $300, and then after that, we're down to, we're gonna drop $2,000 a year.
And once we're done paying the initial, is saying that the maintenance and support stays at the $19.95 a year, we'll be saving $2,200 a year as compared to sales renewal.
So it's a slight increase this year, a reduction in the next 2 years, and a huge reduction in the final, once we're done paying it off. They're gonna finance the website for us.
2 questions. Why are we doing this? This is my first question.
Our current website
We have
is,
lots of
terrible.
reasons.
and it's hard, and it's not easy to use, as far as being user-friendly to upload things and whatnot. For Virtual Town Hall, it has so simplistic to make edits to the website. Across the Commonwealth, there's towns moving to Virtual Town Hall, monthly. Upton just moved over there. I believe Medway just moved over there.
And that's what they do. They
Millbrook
do
just moved
municipalities, they do schools. Sales renewal, I think that Mendon was probably the first town website or municipal website that they ever
Sales
did.
renewal is more of a business-based
Yes.
website, whereas Virtual Town Hall is geared directly towards municipalities and school systems.
And to get support from sales renewal, it's almost non-existent.
Yeah. I mean, they've made changes to,
$350 a month for not much support.
right. And they've made changes. Jen and I work in the calendar part of the website all the time, and they've made changes that have made the process longer for us to update, to put agendas on, and
I'm with
it's,
you. And it's a cost savings.
and it's a cost savings, yes.
So I still have 2 questions, though.
And
Who's managing this vendor sales renewal now? Who manages them? We do?
What do you mean?
No, I mean, it sounds like we paid for something, I'm still not sure we got what we paid for from sales renewal to start. It sounds like they don't give us support, but we're paying for support. I said, who's managing this vendor?
Oh, well, it would have been our
us?
office.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I've been in contact with Mr. Loris. Things had actually fallen through the cracks at one point, and it kind of got really sidetracked.
So you wanna get off this?
So I said, all right, well, I'll take it, and I worked with these guys to try to get it back on track, and it just,
And it was
it's almost too hard to explain. It's, you know, it's almost.
I mean, I had a conference call with
I'm good with
Lonnie
that.
and Sales Renewal, and, I mean, they started yelling and blaming us, and we're both like,
Yeah,
What the-
there's a lot of finger pointing going on, and you know what, the frustration, and
Do we
again,
have to put this out to bid? That'd be the other question. That's really my first question.
well, what's
for
the,
the price,
yeah.
no.
No, I'm just saying.
No, you have to
in-
seek
in
3
ter-
proposals.
Have we saw 3?
You just need to seek 3 proposals.
Have we
Yeah,
saw
well,
3 proposals?
Not at this point, we'll probably
Not,
need to seek
not
2
at this
more.
point, no.
Because this sounds good.
That would be easier to do.
I think if it's easier for all of us that are in here to use it, people will use it. Right now, what we have is not easy for anybody to use. And, I mean, sometimes I go to Diane and say, can you show me how to upload this again? You know, it's not easy for people to use at all.
Everybody that was in the meeting seemed real happy with
Yeah.
the functionality of it, so I think that's.
Were we unhappy with the functionality of sales
Yes.
renewal?
Oh, good.
When it first rolled out? No,
Sales
now.
renewal from
When they demoed it.
from the first get-go, when they came in here for training, it was
There
awful.
was really no demo, it was nothing along the lines of this.
No.
We had, again, looked at virtual, Bill Ambrosino had taken the lead on it back then. They had actually spoken to World Band, it was before I had purchased it, and then that was delayed, so then they looked at the sales renewal, and the sales renewal was promising all these items that were great, but Virtual Town Hall didn't have them yet.
Right.
Well, but being on a business side of the spectrum, it's geared differently, it doesn't function smoothly, it's, you know, more of they are gonna maintain it for you. So they kind of threw together, or they're using the back end, I forget if it's not Joomla, but it's one of the back end models that allows you to upload and adjust content. Where Virtual Town Hall has kind of built their own and made it real simple to use, and totally fixed what they do. So yeah, there was just kind of, we went with it back then, and then they came in and did some training, which just didn't, it was again, too hard, I think,
Okay.
if you're not doing it all day, every day. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. So I guess if we can grab 2 more bids on it and then decide, I don't know that there's anybody out there that's going to compare to Virtual Town Hall, so it's kind of biased at this point, but we need to at least, you know, go, and I think when we do our research to request them, look for municipal website design, not commercial.
So 2 more. Okay. Thank you. Can I give you this, Mike?
So after we get the 2 more and they come under, do we have to come back?
I don't think it's a matter of actually lowest bid, it's not, because it's not the bid process, you just have to have, we have to have.
You have to
the fact that
compare
we
apples to
researched-
apples.
Right, we
Yep.
researched
Yep,
3 total companies to come
Yep.
up with the decision.
right. So then come back to you with that, or just forward that information over to Diane?
I would say we can forward it for sure, but let's have another meeting about it and discuss it, and then we can make a decision on how we're gonna proceed.
Okay,
Perfect.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Consider, next item on the agenda is to consider candidates for the Assistant Treasurer Collector and Municipal Clerk. How you doing?
We're doing well.
So you had, how many candidates did we get?
We had 10 candidates altogether. I interviewed 7.
Sorry?
I interviewed 7
Okay.
candidates. And of the 7, and actually, if I may just take a little minute, when I did the interviews, I asked for help from the town accountant and also the principal assessor, and as well as Joan, and they sat in on 5 of those 7 interviews, and Jean sat in on all of them.
Okay.
So I wanted to say thank you to Claudia
Great.
and also to Jean, because it was a help, and I felt it was very necessary, given the relationship between the offices. I thought it was very important that all of us meet these candidates.
That's great.
So-
That's great to hear. I'm glad that everybody was.
Yep, it was a big help. It was a very big help. That being said, though, the 7 candidates that I did interview were all very well qualified. I was really happy with the quality of the candidates that we had. Choosing 3 to come here tonight was difficult because they are all very qualified. And as you know, I have made my recommendation of the 1. But that being said, all 3 of the candidates are here.
So did you just disqualify 3 of them right off the bat and not even interview them?
4 of them I have interviewed, and I haven't taken it any further than that. Oh, 3 of them, yes.
Right, the 3,
Yes.
okay, yep, okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right. You have the 3.
We have 3 of the resumes.
Why do we have 4? This is,
An extra one.
these are the 3 folks that are here tonight?
These are the 3. If I got the names wrong, then I'm in big trouble.
What? Yes.
Catherine Howick Foley? Come on up.
Yep, and by microphone. Hello,
Hi, how are you?
Well,
good, how are you?
I'm Lonnie Tenio, Mark Reel, Mike Goddard.
Hi.
So I'm actually gonna, you would like to start, Mike, if you have any questions?
Just briefly, quick overview of your really job experience. I'd be interested to hear about.
Well, I think the experience, my past experience at Georgia Pacific is what I would speak to that qualifies me for this position. Currently, the last 7 years, I've been working as a substitute teacher at the Hopedale Elementary Schools. It worked for my family. Prior to that, I had worked for over 13 years at Georgia Pacific as in the distribution division. Started off with sales and ended up as a regional controller for the locations in the Northeast region. Although my last several years, I was not doing or responsible for the day-to-day transactions, whether it be accounts receivable, accounts payable. I was responsible for that position and making sure that those positions were run the way they were supposed to run. Should that position change, I was responsible for making sure the training of those new people was done. So I needed, in order to do that, I needed to know those positions and be able to do them myself. Also, we talked a little bit, as far as the cash part of it, you know, you don't really deal with cash transactions in a corporation. You know, you kind of like online payments and stuff like that. The money is just processed. Checks, you know, come in and get processed. You know, so I assured the team that I did have experience with cash and cash handling in my experiences at the elementary school. For 6 years, I either ran or helped run scholastic book fairs. Again, a lot of cash coming in on a day-to-day basis, checks, and credit card reconciliation. And so, with my experience at Georgia Pacific, with my leadership roles there, and you know, the receivable and inventory reconciliation, I feel that I'm qualified to do cash reconciliations and transactions.
So, in your role with Georgia Pacific, what would you find to be your biggest challenge?
I think my biggest challenge there actually had, and I say this, had to deal with the salespeople, and I started off as sales, because I was responsible for making sure that, you know, everything balanced at the end of the day. And salespeople are, you know, they're there for the sale, the paperwork will follow. So I think the biggest challenge was maybe dealing with chasing after some people to make sure that, you know, they have to document what they're doing so that everyone else is able to do their job efficiently and effectively.
Good news is we don't have a sales department here. Unfortunately, we don't have a sales department.
I was in sales. Although my paperwork was probably correct. I'm a numbers person, so I.
So, real quick, who would you describe as your primary customers in that role, George's?
The company's customers or my customers?
Your customers in that role.
My customers would have been the seven branch managers, the operations staff at each location, and in some respects, the warehouse managers, because in my role as controller, I would need to go to the locations and do an internal audit, which meant that I would have to review not only the office procedures, but I'd have to walk through the warehouse, check on the delivery procedures. So my customers were really other Georgia Pacific employees.
But not the sales force. You say, I heard sales force was over.
Well, not in my role as controller, only because at that point we moved to distribution centers. The salespeople moved to central location in Atlanta, Georgia. So that sales process was done at a different location.
Okay.
What are some of your skills that you had learned at Georgia Pacific that you think would benefit the Treasurer Collector's Office?
Well, I think my skills made themselves evident as I was, again, I mean, I was a marketing major at when I graduated college. I thought that was the way I wanted to go, and then it became evident that I was a little too, is it type A, you would say? I like to have everything balanced. I like to see that everything is reconciled. I like to see if when I was also in purchasing, when I purchased something, if I wanted to make sure that all of that was correctly accounted for, all of that was correctly received, all of that was correctly billed out, and if it wasn't, sometimes in a big corporation, it can be $1,000 one way or another, and, to me as a person, that's a lot of money. When you're dealing with, millions, it's not worth your time, although I've always found that it may not seem to be worth your time, but it's going to come back later when you're looking for that, skid of 2x4s, and it's not there, because we made mistakes earlier, and yes, it might have been a small mistake, but now we disappointed other customers because that material wasn't there. So I think my skills there are just that, and that would benefit this department, is that I have the ability to I guess, look at numbers, because a lot of that is numbers, dollars and cents, and I have the ability to research, to make everything balance.
I don't have any further questions. Perfect. Thank you so much for coming in. If nobody has anything else.
I'm good. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Brenda Bishko? Did I say that correctly? Bishko. Please come on up, sorry.
Okay.
Just trying to make it Italian. Although it still may be. Oh, you're on Clara Barton Road?
Yes.
I actually work over at the Barton Center.
Yes.
Thank you for coming in tonight.
No problem.
Kick it off.
All right, the good news is you heard all my questions already. So, just a real quick overview of current and previous work experience.
Okay. I basically worked in finance most of my life, except for a short period where I took off to raise my children. I went to school locally. I started in Virginia, actually, but I graduated in Worcester from Dudley Hall Career Institute. I went on to work at Hanover Insurance. I took some time off after that to raise my children. I worked at David Clark Company in Worcester, Mass. as accounts receivable. I was laid off due to the 9/11 terrorist attacks. It was an aerospace company, so we had to deal with a lot of difficulty. I did last through a lot of layoffs, and then I had to, to go. And then I got a job with Right Line Company for accounts payable. We got bought out by Eaton Corporation, and they decided to dissolve our department, the finance department, and handle that at their headquarters in North Carolina.
All right. I lied. I have a different question.
Okay.
Just more, you have a background, in the private sector. What's bringing you to look at a municipal position?
Well, I think it would be very exciting. I would like the opportunity to work with the people, maybe make a difference in the town. I knew a little bit about Mendon, and I've also looked for a smaller place that doesn't have hundreds of employees, a little more personal. And this job came up, and I saw it, and it was like, well, that would be perfect.
I'm going to ask you the same question.
Okay.
So what are some of the skills you think will really benefit the treasurer collector's office?
I've worked with accounts payable, accounts receivable, understand both sides of it. I have actually done a lot of cash applications, some at work, most of it not. At David Clark Company, we did handle the cafeteria cash, so on a daily basis, we had to count it and reconcile it, make sure everything was all set, put it as part of our deposit, which we also handled. We took turns. Our jobs kind of rotated in that department, so we got to do everything. Growing up and into my early 20s, my mom ran the snack bar. This is not work-related, but at the Marlboro Fish and Game, and that was lots of cash, and I always worked with her, and it was really fun. It was a volunteer thing, but it was good.
Okay.
I don't have any other questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything else?
I think I have one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Formulating it.
Oh, sorry, hold on one second. He does have one more question.
That's okay.
I'm not sure I want to know about challenges in your past position, but stepping into a new position, a new type of business, tell me a little bit about how, what your first 30, 60 days might look like.
It's always hard going into a new position. There's always challenges. I thrive on challenges. I like to learn. I like to be challenged and learn and have to work towards a goal. I'm not really used to working with people of a town. That would be really great. I think I would very much enjoy that. This whole thing tonight was very interesting to me. I think, I've been told I'm a fast learner. I have been tested by unemployment. I am unemployed currently, and 98th percentile. I can learn just about anything quickly. I do make mistakes. I think everybody does. I do not make a lot. All my reviews have been exceeds expectations, so, and that was always, even if like, say, accounts payable or accounts receivable, when you go into a new job, there's new challenges, they do things differently, there's different software. I helped with an upgrade on the new software at Eaton on the financial side, and, I used to say, bring it on my, on my, thing,
Thank you.
so, yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Jennifer Welch, is she here?
Good evening.
Hi.
Jen Welch.
Do I go first?
Mike Goddard,
Sure,
Lonnie
yes, of
Tenio,
course.
Mark Reel.
Oh, I didn't even do that last time. Sorry.
All right. Same first question as the previous candidates, just background,
Okay.
whether it's, within parks or what have you, but just curious as to.
Okay.
that starts
I
to-
actually started in high school as the accountant for a major firm's sidekick. So I was her helper, shall I say, after school and on weekends, actually. So I started there, and then they actually moved me up to a full-time, it wasn't an assistant accountant, but I still sat with her and helped her with all of her work, shall I say. And they helped pay for some schooling, so I did go on to go to school for 2 years at Worcester State for an accounting degree. Things changed. I was 20, so I stopped going to school. But after that, I continued, except for a few short years with the kids and working at night and stuff, I continued to stay active working, literally a few short years. Since then, all I've ever done really is numbers and people. I've worked, I've been administrative assistant, but I've done the accounts receivable, the accounts payable, Burger King Corporation I worked for, which is actually a different name in there, but it was essentially Burger King, a giant health economics research firm, and I just continued to move on there. My current experience is the last 7 years I've been the Parks employee, and then the last 9 months I've worked with the town clerk's office. In the Parks Department, I prepare and submit payroll to the town accountant. I prepare and handle the entire parks budget with the input from the park commissioners. And I prepare and submit all the bills and balance the budget through the end of the fiscal year on a daily basis.
So would you say that working in the town already gives, would help you in that position?
In this position? Yes.
If you were to get this position?
Absolutely. I work well with the entire town hall, the highway department, which I realize is, out there, the library. There's no current issues. I am honestly quite nosy, so I need to know everything that's going on, and I like to know everything that's going on because I like to know how it works and how it affects my job, how it affects my budget, how it affects my employees, as I'm looking at everything around me, whether it be the finance committee, what they're doing, what the selectmen are doing. I like to be prepared and know what is coming.
It's generally the finance committee that causes all the trouble around here.
That's right.
I had a question and I forgot it.
You were going to ask me a question.
Actually had a question.
You had a question. I'm fabulous with
Can I
people.
jump in?
Yo, go right ahead, I'll find it again, I'm sure I'll come across.
First 30 days, what does it look like for you?
Stressful. Learning. I know the KVS software well, so that will be helpful for me. But it will be learning the different ways that they do things in their office compared to how I do it in my office. So I would have to adapt to that. But I think knowing the KVS software, knowing the people, working in a municipality for the past 7 years gives me the edge and the benefit to continue to do so.
Actually, my question's not for you, it would be for Linda once we're finished.
I'm sorry?
My question would be for Linda once we're finished.
See, I don't think Linda's expecting questions. She's sitting there going, what do you?
She's like, what are you guys doing? I'm also fabulous with people. Fabulous, fabulous. That's my main trait. I'm always got a smile on my face when I'm meeting the public, not necessarily behind the scenes, but when I'm meeting the public, I always have a smile on my face. They laugh and joke at me that I have a phone voice because I do seem to answer the phone quite differently compared to how I talk in every day. So I think that gives me a huge benefit as well because I'm really good with the residents and vendors and we get things done.
Anything else?
I'm good.
Nope.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I look forward to hearing from all of you. Thank you.
Linda, can you refresh my memory, or actually anybody refresh my memory on exactly, because we have both positions are going to
Yes.
be vacant.
Yes.
How are we structuring this again? Are we hiring two people, or are we hiring a single person to do both jobs right now?
I'm going forward intending to hire two people. I have, in order to basically buy myself some training time, I'm going to just stave off having the clerk appointed
Okay?
until August 1st, and then use the clerk's money, basically, and that will buy me 3 weeks and 2 days' worth of training.
Okay, and are we using these 3 applications for both positions?
No,
Okay,
this is only for the assistant treasurer collector.
so this is the assistant treasurer clerk.
Correct.
So
This is Joan's job.
But the decision is about Joan's position, but
Correct.
maybe a different way of looking at the questions, have all 3 candidates expressed interest in only one position, or are they potentially interested in 2?
Because I see, because they've put on here, okay, so for instance, 2 have either or,
Yes.
and 1 had just the
And
one.
one has only one.
Okay.
And although I haven't gotten to the bottom, I have not answered the question whether or not a person who was qualified for this job would perhaps be overqualified for the other job.
Understood.
You know, that, I have not answered that question yet, but it's going to come up. But I haven't really done anything with the clerks. I'm going to be scheduling interviews with those, I believe I have 8 other applications for those people, and I will schedule interviews for those people, but because I wanted to buy some training time, I backed off a little
Okay.
bit on that.
So, okay. Do you need this decision tonight?
I would like a decision tonight, if that was at all possible.
She wanted it last month, I think.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
that's-
No, the reason that I'm pushing for tonight, and that I would like to push for tonight, is because there's only so much time I can buy, well, no, I can go on without a clerk, but it's becoming harder as time goes on, and so the longer I stave this decision off, the longer I have to wait for a clerk, and it's just between, there's vacation schedules that have to be considered, and also I have a week of, I had wanted to, and maybe it won't be possible this year, but I did want to do treasurer's school, which is a week in August, which comes at sort of a bad time.
You think they
One of
would
the
plan that better?
Vacation in July, don't you? Do
And
you
I have vacation in July.
Right.
And then there's a potential candidate who would also have vacation in July. That was already,
I don't want to know that.
so it's just that, and with
decision.
Joan leaving on the 31st of July, taxes are due August 1st, and there's a whole bunch of things that are coming together, which just, the sooner I can get somebody in there, and even at this, the numbers that I've worked with, Rich, are really, I don't think I can have somebody actually start until July 10th.
Till July 10th?
Yeah.
Oh,
Having said that, to have it, and if you guys aren't going to meet again until July 1st, or somewhere near there, if I remember correctly, she needs to give the Parks Department, or,
understood.
wait a minute, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself, I'm sorry.
Well, no, well, that's something that I'm going to bring up, but we have but we do have a meeting on the 28th. We have the special town meeting, although I'm not going to be there, I can give my recommendation.
Right.
And then these guys can ratify the vote however they'd like to. So based upon the recommendation that's been given, that we now potentially have, we have a few offices here that are affected. We have
Yes.
the clerk's office, and we also have the Parks Department that would be affected.
Right.
If we were to promote internally. That being said, I don't know that that's out of the question. That's something, we need to take that into consideration, and those, because now, granted, I suppose we don't have, what do you have coming up as far as clerk's office? We don't have any, we have the special town meeting and that's it.
We have a special election next week also,
But that's prior to the 10th of July anyhow, so I don't think that's of a major concern. So after that, your office is wrapped up, essentially.
So, I would probably want to, regardless of the decision, I wouldn't want the impact to the other departments impact a decision, right? We got to consider it, but that's once we make a decision, we got to figure out if there is even an impact, right?
Well, again, and I think that these are questions that I just like to answer. I think I'd like to, reach out to the, the Parks Department.
Well, but more importantly, though, if a decision could be made tonight, it does buy the town a number of weeks to have a smooth transition from one for these other departments also, because it gives them that many. I already know that I can't have her start before, regardless of who it is, I can't have them start before I have money available for them. And the way we calculated it, I only have 3 and 2 weeks and 2 days worth of training time.
Can I just say, the Parks Department was aware, Jen did inform us that she was going to apply, and the park commissioners were supportive, so we are somewhat prepared if that's the decision.
What about training in the Parks Department? If we have Jen coming up, and I suppose that I would need you to come back up, Jen, to answer this question as the Parks Department clerk. What has there been any, because now again, if we're to shift the position where the clerks being the part-time position is not that, it's probably easier to fix that. But, you pretty much run the Parks Department at the moment. So now we're going to need to, you do. You're running,
I do, yeah.
You're the everyday person, right? So if we're going to now have to look at hiring somebody for the Parks Department, and now how we're going to need to train that person too. So, but we're a long time away from filling that gap, because we'd have to put out for applications and get people interviewed, and then by that time, you're now transferred over to the treasurer collector's office, and you're in training over there, and at the same time now, they need somebody to help train down there to help out. And especially coming in at the peak of the park season. So I don't know that it's a deal breaker for me. I just want to make sure that all that's been thought of, and that I don't know how we fix that.
But if we were to sort of delay on this till the next time you got together, whether it was July 1st or June 28th, just a couple days. The Jen would, if the candidate was Jen, and she would have to give the Parks Department still 2 weeks. I mean, I think, to be fair, I think
Oh, I understand that, but what I'm saying is.
at least, I
Yeah,
mean,
but
at least
2
2 weeks.
weeks is the amount of time that it's gonna take to get the job description out there and get resumes back.
What, I'd probably, what I'd want to recommend is we kind of make these mutually exclusive. Attrition's going to happen, and there's no telling if anybody leaves their position and we have a position to fill in any department, right? What I'd recommend is let's focus on the position at hand that we know needs to be filled. Let's select the best candidate we think we have, and if it's Jen or any of the candidates, I mean, then once the decision's made, we can deal with
Okay.
what follows.
Okay.
I don't have a problem waiting. I don't have a problem doing it tonight. I don't have a problem telling you my opinion on candidates right now.
I didn't hear the beginning of the conversation because I left the room, but I didn't know what Linda was looking for July 10th hours. Were you looking to start full-time July 10th or part?
Yes, full-time.
Because the other option is also, as far as the park's concerned, full-time is 32 hours a week.
I don't even want to think about the impact of other departments because I think
Okay,
it's.
because
it's
I
sort
do
of a-
have that 8 to help somebody transition.
Is there a question as to the candidate then, Lonnie? Do you need time?
I don't have any questions on anything. Something, I'm not ready to, I mean, if the board wants to vote, then, we can take a vote, but I would like to wait, and again, I won't be at that next meeting, but I'll be able to, relay my opinion to the board, and then they can make the
Okay.
vote and make it happen.
I'm just curious what, if the board seems content with the decision, and what we need to work out is the mechanics of actually getting, when the person starts, how they're going to get paid, which I had that worked out, but I would think that in the interest of time and giving other departments as much time as we possibly can, knowing that we have from here June 17th till at least July 10th, that's almost 4 weeks that we can give officially, is what I'm thinking. You get an official decision, now people can actually go forward and say, okay, I need to give my notice as of this day. Or
I think we're talking 3 weeks instead of 4 potentially. So if we do this at, was the 27th? Was that the date of our next meeting?
Everybody's on the assumption that, that right now we're talking about, we're picking Jen, right?
Right.
And that's what we're going on right now. So that's what this conversation is about. So and then we're talking about dates and times. So
Okay.
just go the other way. We don't pick Jen. Okay, now it doesn't matter. Okay,
Right.
but even if we would pick Jen, say the vote's for Jen on the 28th. Okay, you still have, okay, maybe she doesn't start on the 10th. She starts on the 11th or the 12th, which is a day.
Yep.
Okay, and that's actually full 2 weeks.
Yep.
Is still there to be given. So, I don't, I don't hire anybody in the other things that I do based on, there was the interview, and I need some time to process it, that's all.
Okay.
I don't think that.
I respect that. Let's just, we'll defer.
I would ask that, that you respect our decision to wait till the 28th, that's all.
I want
Okay.
more time too.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much, I appreciate it.
All right.
Mr. Schofield,
Just want to add, so I just
can you
wanna
come up
confirm-
just because we can't.
I'll just talk loud. The other 2 candidates, are they immediately available, or they need 2 weeks?
something, one of our left, I believe, are you immediately available?
They were-
Oh, you start. I'm sorry, I
She
didn't
moved.
see you slide over there. Are you immediately available? Perfect, thank you so much.
Okay, so if I just make one
Yep,
more comment,
you-
Mr. Chairman. So what you gotta be careful of running into, not that I wanna fight the treasurer's battles for her, but if you delay too long, you end up with either one new person in the office by themselves while Linda's on vacation, or even maybe 2 new people by themselves in the office while she's on vacation.
I understand. I think we're just asking for till the special town meeting to be able to just make the vote. I think I mean, again, that delays us 10 days, but I think that we're still in a safe zone if we're, based upon, you kind of satisfied me by saying that, yeah, let's worry about the position at hand and not the effects of anything else, so. That being said, I think that I just would like some time to digest, that's all. Thank you guys so much.
We good?
Yes, thank you, Diane.
The special town meeting where you're meeting beforehand, I posted the meeting for 6:45. Do you want me to post it for 6:30? Because 6:45's a hearing.
I'm pretty sure they can be there at 6. No, 6, that's,
Can you guys make it at 6:30?
Yeah. We might even move this meeting up to 6:30, you never know.
yeah, right, I might be. I mean, unless, look, and I don't know that I need that much time to the 27th, so by all means, if you guys want to post a meeting for the 24th to come in here and make a vote, that's fine by me too.
If you want to do it before the 27th, if you've made a decision, post it as soon as we can, and let's move it ahead.
Okay, how's that? That work?
So
We'll
that
post a
will
meeting
come from Lonnie.
from Monday, a week from today. I would say I can't do, ultimately, hold on. I can't do Thursday. I can do Friday if you guys want to do Friday. Can you do Friday after work? You want to do like a 6?
work Friday, so.
Oh, what time do you get out?
I'll be here whenever.
Like, you want to do like 5:30?
I can do 5:30. I'll come right here.
Can you post a meeting? 5:30 Friday night here, the 21st.
I won't be here, but.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be, that's,
Lonnie's going to volunteer to take minutes.
yeah, there's gonna be nothing on that meeting. We will come in to
That's true.
vote the decision on Friday so that everybody will know. That speeds us up, by almost 6
A
days.
week.
All right? Okay. Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Do some motions?
Hold on one second. Do we have, is Don Hanley here? I don't think so, right? Sue Barnett's not here. Patrick Doherty, Ted King. David's not here. Liquor license vote, 3 professional on Southwicks, consider decision. Anybody here for the Murphy dog hearing? Mowing. Anybody here for the cost estimates on the mowing? That being said, I would have the highway surveyor come up so he doesn't have to sit through our next round of stuff
So we're going to go back through these?
in a moment. Yeah, in a moment. I'm just skipping ahead so that he doesn't have to.
Just trying to keep up.
Because he's at the very end and I don't want to.
Good evening. I know that I've been talking to the chairman about this. Darlene is unable to do the Concom position efficiently and do the highway job, so she has talked with Conservation Commission and told them that she can no longer do that. She will work with the new person to try and train her what she knows down there, but she doesn't know a whole lot. So,
What's the, so right now she's working 40 hours, right?
yes,
And how many hours was the highway department prior to? Was it 32?
30,
30.
yes.
How many hours was Concom? Was 10 before. So we've taken a 30-hour and a 10-hour job, they put it up to 40, and the person that we hired can't handle it.
Correct.
So,
Well, it's an awful lot for someone to learn both positions. There's an awful lot of...
okay, but here's my hang-up on this, and I'm not, if I'm sounding mean or something like that, I'm sorry, but the position was posted for those two positions, and there's no more, there wasn't a reduction somewhere to balance out the hours, it was 30 and 10. That person applied, said they could do the position, and now within a 6-month time frame telling us that they can't do that position. So, I mean, honestly, I feel like we didn't hire the right person. That would be my opinion on that. Whether or not that is truthful, I'm not here all day to see, I don't know much about either department to know if I'm just being, for lack of a better rude about this, lack of a better word, rude about this. But that's just my feeling on it, shooting from the hip. Sorry, Diane, sorry.
Just want to say something about the conservation position. When I was doing the 8 to 11 hours a week, I had the flexibility that if I had to come in on a Monday to get something done, because it had to be done that day, I could do it. But Darlene's got responsibilities with the highway, so there's not that flexibility that I had.
Okay, fair enough.
I believe conservation is more than 10 hours a week. I mean,
It depends on the week. It depends what permits are being asked for. It just depends on the workflow. 'Cause some weeks I would work 13 hours, but I had that flexibility because I wasn't anywhere else, or I could work it out with the selectman's office because I didn't have to be there.
Right, but if you worked 13 hours one week, you didn't work a full 10 the next week, did you? Did you balance that way?
Some weeks I did. I pretty much balanced what I had, the hours I had for the year.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I think what you're describing is, I mean, you don't staff to peak, you know what I mean? There's gonna be ups and downs, and that's what I'm hearing, right? So in 10 hours is intended to be an average, for lack of a better term. Sometimes it's gonna be higher, sometimes it's gonna be lower.
And when she started, I don't know why, but she was, poor thing, was just bombarded with.
Yep.
Well, I think the previous person in the Concom position probably left a lot of backlog for her.
That's probably, she was a slacker, what can I say?
Listen, I don't think that this is one of those positions, again, we were trying to consolidate. I don't think that the consolidation here, or splitting them back apart at the end of the day, we're gonna get a 10-hour part-time person. It's not like we're adding another set of benefits to the package, to the deal, or anything like that. It's, we're taking 10 hours, you're just staying down there for 30. There's no, I don't see, there's no financial downfall to this, other than our consolidation model is kind of not working. That's all.
Well, there's the potential, there's more opportunities. I mean, you're actually
Yep, with the-
separating. So, I mean, Alan, your suggestion is just leave Darlene with me for 30 hours a week?
yes. I mean, eventually, we're having a hard time with her down there for 30, but I can't increase it.
That's a whole different discussion.
I'm not discussing it, I'm just telling you.
No. The comment takes me back, actually, to something you said in terms of, you started with questioning the candidate. Did we hire the right person, right?
Well, again, I don't know what I know it's, you're driving up from down the street, I mean, you're in two different buildings. It was different when, when.
So I don't have a problem splitting, right, and leaving 30. But, I mean, I do think we're still in the middle of a probationary period, correct, with this candidate?
Correct.
So when you say, I'm not sure 30 is enough for her in that one position, I think that's a whole separate discussion, Alan.
Right.
So I don't have a problem splitting it, partly because I think,
Might be benefit somehow with.
they might be aligning with more clerk-type positions rather than the highway, basically a full-time position supporting a.
Well, I think what would happen if she was just down there for 30 hours and not trying to concentrate on conservation and down there, I think she'd be fine. I mean, she's doing great down there, I mean.
It's fair enough. And again, I don't mean to sound mean or anything like that. That was my first initial reaction on this was, but, at the end of the day, maybe I shouldn't have even said what I said. It just, it's not hard to split this one back out. And it's essentially, it might make more sense, might even be a better idea to have a 10-hour clerk back here in this building, that if we needed 5 hours somewhere else, then they wanted to take it.
I mean, even consider the,
Town clerk's position now.
that and,
If that goes that way.
and the funding towards training in the treasurers. So those 10 hours get freed up. I mean, granted, we gotta find something for the Concom, but you got a potential part-time clerk in the treasurer's office we're gonna start to hire for. You know?
You don't want to be giving away those 10 hours, because there's still
No.
work down there that needs to be done.
No, I don't think so.
Well, we gotta find a way to do the work. I'm not, all right.
Yeah.
The work.
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
You were talking.
I think he should be advertised.
Let us put out an advertisement to find somebody to fill that position. In the meantime, she still needs to.
I think it'll be a municipal clerk that supports, primary support is Conservation Commission.
Give us, you know what, also give us, depending on the decision that we make on Friday, we'll possibly adjust even that position, because we're going to, if Jen is to be appointed, or, promoted up to the treasurer collector's office.
You're gonna have to
We got a whole
position.
bunch of stuff in flight.
We have a clerk to fill in the clerk's office as well.
Yeah.
Some time there. So-
And the park department.
Parks.
Agreed, but well, I think that's more of a full-time position, isn't it?
No,
I don't know how
it was
many.
19 hours.
Oh, right, because
Right.
they're all done in the summertime. Yeah, I'm with you. And then short time, yep. Okay, thank you very much, Al.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Sorry for my,
That's okay, you moved them up in the agenda. Where do you want to go now?
let's go to, no, we'll go back to the order. Let's go, the common vicular license for Pops Popcorn, 82 North Ave.
I move to renew the common victual license for Don Hanley, doing business as Pops Popcorn, 82 North Ave, pending return of positive BOS routing slips.
Second?
Discussion. There was, I remember talking to him about this, that there was, is he just kind of keeping everything renewed, moving forward? Because wasn't there, they were trying to get him to do serve safe or some
Yes,
thing?
there are still open issues with the Board of Health, and he hasn't had a fire inspector do an inspection yet either.
Right. Well, I mean, again, it's all pending the routing slip, but, yeah, all right, I guess maybe I can stop into a Board of Health meeting to find out a little bit more about the serve safe situation where it's such a season. I mean, it's only open for a very short amount of time. Well, you know something? All right, I'll bring that up with the Board of Health. We have consideration for, all in favor?
Aye.
We have a consideration for appointment of Susan Barnett, 1 Puddingstone Lane, to the Town Forest Committee.
I move to appoint Susan Barnett of 1 Puddingstone Lane to the Town Forest Committee with the term to expire June 30th, 2016.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, unanimous. Consider the annual one-year appointments for Patrick Doherty and Teddy King to the Zoning Bylaw Review Committee.
I move to appoint Patrick Doherty and Ted King to the Zoning Bylaw Review Committee for a term to expire June 30th, 2014.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Consider a junk license renewal for David Lowell at 4 Main Street.
I move to allow the renewal of a junk dealer's license to David Lowell at 4 Main Street.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
We want to amend the motion to correct the Nipmuc Youth Softball Program and Mendon Junior Baseball Special Liquor License vote. This was, the issue was, we didn't say beer and wine.
So, I want to amend the previous motion, and move to grant a beer and wine license, one-day license for June 7th through June 10th, 2013 to the Nipmuc Youth Softball Program in Mendon Junior Baseball for the Summerfest on Saturday, January 8th, with a rain date of Sunday, January 9th, 2013 at Memorial Field.
Second?
June 9th, January.
Oh, June 9th. And you know what? It was written right here, and I just ignored what you wrote, didn't I? It's terrible. Yeah, read that one. I should do them. It's close, though, I think.
I love how it's a one-day license from June 7th to the 10th. All right, I just want to make sure. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're going to consider the request for a special alcohol license for Earth Limited, Southwick's Wild Animal Farm, 2 Southwick Street. Selectman Reel is going to abstain as he's employed by Southwick's.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, I move to approve issuance of a special wines and malt beverages only license to Earth Limited, Southwick's Wild Animal Farm, 2 Southwick Street, effective June 20th, 2013 through June 22nd, 2013. Authorized hours of sales are 6 PM to 8:30 PM on Friday, June 21st, 2013, at the Zebra Cafe.
I'll second. And discussion would be that that's probably how we should word the other ones next year when they come up. It was just worded a lot better. But, yeah, I think this one's great. There's not a one, it doesn't say one day, and it also gives the times that they can serve the alcohol, which I don't know that we did on the original ones. So, I mean, they're already passed, but I think that that's a much nicer way. Thank you. All in favor? All right.
Aye.
I stepped down a second then.
Okay, I've got two more. Same topic. I move to approve issuance of special malt beverages only licensed to Earth Limited, Southwick's Wild Animal Farm, 2 Southwick Street, effective August 8th through August 10th, 2013. Authorized hours of sales are 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Friday, August 9th, 2013, at the tented area outside the zoo by the parking lot.
Step down a second. Discussion? Just as good as the first one. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to approve issuance of an all-alcoholic beverages license to Earth Limited, Southwick's Wild Animal Farm, 2 Southwick Street, effective September 19th through September 21st, 2013. Authorized hours of sales are 5 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. on Friday, September 20th, 2013, at the tented area outside the zoo by the parking lot.
I'll step down second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Still just. What else we got?
We've got some
Minutes?
minutes.
Minutes?
I move to approve the May 21st, May 29th, and June 4th regular meeting minutes, and the May 21 executive session meeting minutes not to be released.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Last one, mowing.
I've got things to sign, which are the licenses, I believe.
Wait, we got the most important thing coming up is the estimates for the mowing. No. Have a good night. Thank you.
Are we going to do a dog hearing, hold off on that?
We just need to, I don't think we need to, that's closed. All we need to do is send that recommendation over, right? We just need to sign that?
I think there's a motion involved, too.
Oh, come on.
Oops. I haven't actually read this. Do you want to do this tonight, or can we hold off?
If it's ready. I think that, oh, this was from council, right? Shall be humanly restrained at all times. Yeah, no, this isn't how I wanted it.
Okay.
I
When we
don't-
put this on for the first, we'll revise it.
Yeah, I want this word to be or.
Okay.
And what I'm saying, and I did send this to council, so I don't know if he just didn't catch it in time or something. So, provision 3, when removed from the said premises, the dogs should say dogs, shall be securely and humanely muzzled, and I would rather say, instead of and, be or restrained with a chain. So, if the dog's muzzled and it's running around, then, it's muzzled. It's not gonna be able to bite somebody. I don't think that they need to be on a leash and muzzled.
Well, the one thing I'd want to do is go look at last decision we made to see if the wording, make sure the wording's the same. So, I mean, we've sort of set a little bit of a precedent on under restraint and muzzling based on the last hearing.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Let's
that
make
was
sure
the
we
one
tie
up
back,
on-
yeah.
Up on Main Street. Oh,
Let's check on that, but we can revisit this in the first.
Sure, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Understood. Do we have the mowing estimates?
I do not have a mowing estimate.
So maybe not to waste time on this, Parks is going to do the fire station. And we had talked to Susan Darnell about the new library and explained that right now we can't really get to that, but we said that most likely in July, once the growing slows down, hopefully, we'll get to it. And she agreed, and they're going to get volunteers, so.
To do it in the meantime?
Yep.
Okay, that's great. So, and I mean, if it does require, so you know what though, I would, do we have prices?
Yes,
It's over $1,000
Over $1,000? For one mowing?
for, I guess, whatever. I saw the pricing, but let me get it up here.
I probably have it in my email.
You do.
Oh, so these are, okay, so these are church weekly rate, 60 fire station weekly. Track minutes, 67. Okay, so if we, did B and M not get back to us with a price?
Sorry, what?
Did B and M not get back to us with a price? Okay. Okay. So, just based upon the pricing here, I don't know if this price is based upon, hey, you know, this is what it'd be if you went for a year.
17 weeks.
Right, but if it's just $60 a mow, we just know if we need to set, you know, if it's getting bad up there, we just have to come up with $60.
Well, it was based on doing it for the rest of the season.
Yeah, right.
And then a couple of them, they said there would be an initial
$125.
cost for the fire department.
For the fire department, right. Okay, well, let's see what, if we get jammed up, we'll have to call somebody and see if they come mow it.
So what I didn't hear what you said about the fire department,
Oh, the Parks Department is gonna continue to do that.
Parks Department.
And then I'm sorry.
And then we talked to Susan Darnell about the library, and they're gonna find volunteers until Parks can get to it.
We're about to set a record. We need to go into executive sessions?
Do we?
Yes. Just for a moment.
Okay.
Oh, actually, you know what? We can't. Can't.
Can't?
No. Not to discuss what I wanted to discuss.
All right.
Yay, motion to adjourn?
No.
Oh. No, I didn't have open forum tonight. You're out, buddy. Now, come on up.
All right.
Let me just give this back.
That's going to be a very sensible thing. I've been at the two previous meetings from the planning board and the zoning bylaw committee, and it is a very, very frustrating venue. The first meeting I went to, I requested that the zoning bylaws will be reversed to August 2012, when we didn't have those extra zones in. So the chairman said, no, that's not going to happen, this and that. And he said, the voters voted it in. I said, well, the voters voted it in, but they didn't know what was going to be in there. He said, they found out what was in there, and they voted it down. I said, now there is, all those those new zonings are there, there's nothing in it.
We can't pull them out without a town meeting vote.
Well, okay, I requested that.
Oh, okay.
So, and so forth, and so forth. And then I sit in at that meeting, and it's really, really frustrating, because the bylaws are basically written by another person out of the public, a resident. And the way the bylaws are written by that particular person is all in self. It only affects for herself, that is for the best of her own interest, not for the interest of the town. So the next meeting, last week, I requested that this person will be excused from writing bylaws for the town of Mendon. And of course, that's not gonna happen. So, because the people, I've talked to people in town, they are just tired of hearing that this particular person is writing those laws because she doesn't want anybody moving next door to her with chickens. And I've been hearing that for the last 4 years from her. And this is an ongoing deal, and the planning board, they let her go ahead and do that every time.
Well, okay, look, everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just having a hard, okay, so that's the reason that we're having those meetings, is because if there's a concern with how they were written, regardless of who wrote them, that's the time, instead of trying to hash it out on the town meeting floor.
Exactly.
I felt that the first meeting, although slightly frustrating, but it's going to be frustrating, there are changes to our zoning bylaws that we've been looking at for years, since when I first got elected, that ours are so antiquated that there's such major change that people are going to get distressed about it. We expected that. Whether or not somebody likes who wrote it or thinks that.
Oh, no.
Hold on, let me finish.
Yeah.
That if a group of people think that person is maliciously creating bylaws. Okay, so if there was a concern about how they were written, regardless of who wrote them, that we are now having this meeting to clean up all those things. And I think, I was at the first one, I was really sick at the second one, so I didn't make it here. I did watch it from home for about an hour before I fell asleep. And there seemed to be, and again, there was tension in the room, I could see it on the TV, and that tension's there. But I think the end result is that we're making headway on getting the adjustments that the people are looking for. Whether they be small, and if this takes us 6 months to get that right, that hearing will stay open for 6 months. But let me tell you something. That meeting is open to any resident in this town, and if people don't like personalities or if they think that something's wrong, you gotta deal with it. Because, it might be the other side of the spectrum is, I'm sure that person feels slighted, and all the work that she put into it, that she feels like she's getting kicked in the face.
I agree 100% with you. That I have no problem with that. But why does this particular person has to explain to the public every time? Because the chairman, he doesn't want to say anything himself. He looks at the person and he let her speak and let him speak and let him speak, and only in her own interest. So if this continues ongoing, then I want town council there every time, so he can stand up.
Where is the town council for the planning board? They have a town council that's specifically supposed to be, they hired special counsel to handle the zoning bylaws. If we need that person there, let's bring him in. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Why not? Because you know something, I think that it's going to take longer with the tension that's in that room.
Because I can foresee at a special town meeting for the zoning bylaw, it's going to be a disaster again.
Well, but then, I'd rather have it be a disaster for 6 months in here, so that when it gets there, everybody's in agreement.
But then I want a town council to explain it to the public, to the residents, what they deserve, and not to a resident who is only out for her own interest.
All right, you have to be careful about saying, well, you know what, you can say whatever you want.
I know,
say whatever you want. But I mean, I can't sit here and say or agree that the person that you're speaking about has some crazy no chicken agenda that you guys keep bringing up. I just can't see it. Some things might be too restrictive, but then that's what they're there for. We're there to unpull that restriction. So what we need to do is have the town council, you know what, you're right.
At the hearing, because they're at the town meeting, and they are very vocal within town meeting, but maybe they need to be at the
Actually,
hearing.
the last town meeting, they weren't very vocal.
Well, no, Bob was, but theirs wasn't.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That council needs to be there to make that, to do that. So I think you're right. I think he should be at those planning board meetings, and I'll actually reach out to Bill and see if we can do it. Now, granted, it's gonna cost us a little bit more money, but I think it's necessary.
And there was also an issue that another lady brought up, and she said that the health department should go through this. And then there was a
What was that? I'm
whole,
sorry, I couldn't understand.
the health department should take care of that for domestic animals.
Which we kind of do, and I think that the misunderstanding is, or, you're right, maybe they are too restrictive, or that there's just a misunderstanding and there's not a trust level there. But if we get the.
Absolutely not.
If we get town council there, I think that he may be able to hash out those issues or tell us, yes, this should be taken care of by another department. Would you agree? Do you think that would help to
absolutely.
speed this up? All right.
Because then the people have somebody to go to instead of hearing it from one side.
I would agree with you. I think
And
that,
because the planning board let it go on and on and on, and they
I understand. I can't tell the planning board how to run their meetings, but I can at least request that we have counsel there to get these moved along.
Well, I know that AgCom and the planning board and the health department are meeting before the next
To go over those
bylaw
items.
review committee meeting because they want to get on the same page, so.
So there's,
One of the things.
Yeah,
that
I
should be
know,
on the same
and that
page
was
about-
decided that evening, that,
Oversight.
but now we're gonna have a planning board meeting on the 24th, before that meeting is being held with the health department,
they're gonna have another bylaw meeting
on the
24th?
24th.
Okay, well, let's get counsel there, all right? You'd agree?
But, you know, but there should be a meeting actually with the health department, the Board of Health, and planning board, and
You know,
Agriculture.
unfortunately, in my opinion, these being such big items that we're making changes on across the board, that every town, the town departments or designees from these town departments should be there. We should, and I know that the first meeting, there was 2 members of the Board of Health there, I believe. I think that AJ was there as well as, I know that Jack was there. I know Jack.
Yeah, Jack was very verbal about it also.
Right,
Yeah.
but then, again, at the beginning, but then, a couple of the concerns that he had, I think,
Got
seemed
addressed.
to.
No, because that's still not solved. He requested records, and they even haven't become up with it.
What records?
From violations.
I mean, I'd be careful to speak on behalf of other people, just because I think the feedback I got was progress was made in the first meeting that I was at.
Oh,
before
right.
it started.
Actually, you and Jack did have a conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
That was, but,
But again, it was more of a misunderstanding in the initial.
Right.
So
And
again,
don't get me wrong, because I don't gain anything by this, I don't lose anything, I'm just a retired businessman, and that's all I am. I just have my own property that I take care of, but it's just the way it goes. It bothers me.
Look, I understand, and you know something, there's a couple of things that even I looked in there and said, yeah, you know what, this might be a little bit much, let's scale it back. But you're right, I think that we're heading in the right direction, and we're making progress. So, it's not, what you're asking for, I think, is a very reasonable request. So I'll reach out to Bill, and we'll get somebody there, and I think it's gonna probably settle a lot of the uneasiness that people are having. Or heck, it might create 10% more, I don't know. But,
Board of Health is meeting on
Thank you, Will.
Wednesday to review
Yeah,
the
Wednesday.
proposed animal regulations.
okay, great. Anybody else?
Do you want town council at the special town meeting?
What's on, no, that's just all money.
And then that board, the mosquito control.
Mosquito control, oh, no. No, because that's just,
that's small, that's for the flyer and.
yeah, this is for the flyers.
Right.
Yeah, no, good point. Good point. No, let's save a couple bucks this one.
There you go.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Good night, everybody. Still made it under 9 o'clock.